What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode of Sippin Schemin. I'm your host, Kevin.
I'm your host, Gali.
And today we're going to be talking about AR and VR. Let's jump into it. I mean, I think these are two just like super hot topics right now. A lot of different companies, Google, Facebook, everyone's kind of like on this VR kind of train and they're going for it. They're trying to develop all these new technologies for it. And I think it's just like a huge frontier that's worth talking about.
The new wave of the internet.
New wave of the internet, definitely. So I think to start it off, a lot of people have this notion that it's AR versus VR. It's one or the other, and which one's gonna win. The more research I did and the more things that I read, I think it's not really like that. A lot of it's not VR and AR are two different things. They're at different ends of this spectrum. VR is a thing where you are transported through virtual reality to a different place, to a different space. AR is something that takes all these other things and brings it to you, information, statistics, whatever it may be.
And I would also say VR's, like you said, you go to a new place, and then AR kind of enhances the place you're already in. And so AR makes the world more immersive in theory and kind of connect more with the world around you using tech, versus VR is get as far away and remove yourself as far as possible from the real world.
I think the only issue right now is that I don't know if the technology is there yet. The concepts are there, but both the hardware and the software need to get significantly better in order for these things to become more prevalent in day-to-day life. And I think they will be. I think we will get to a point where that's going to happen. And once that happens, it's going to revolutionize how we interact with our world, how we see our world. There's huge prospects. It's just we have to get there. And there's a lot of things kind of in the way. Like VR, right now, PlayStation, whatever, you're still tied to this machine, this box, this computer that's going to run all of that. You can't really walk around. You can't move out of the room that you're in. Very expensive to use. There's things where, you're in VR, but you got to be aware of your surroundings. Like if you have a chair, VR doesn't calculate that there's a chair there.
You have to rearrange your whole living room to be able to use
you gotta
VR.
Take out all your furniture.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's one big obstacle for VR. You got to kind of like sit down and kind of, that's the best way to use it. You can't really walk around too much. It doesn't give you this walking feeling sensation. There are machines. I remember seeing that thing online where this guy is like in this huge suit and the floor moves. He's like clipped in, so you can like move and turn and walk and run, which is really, really awesome. That's the pinnacle of what it actually will be, hopefully in the future.
But is everybody going to have that in their homes?
Right. I don't know.
Setup? Maybe.
Or you go somewhere and you like get into a little pod or something for X amount of time. You're in there, you pay a fee to use the space. I don't know. Or, the technology evolves to a point where the VR does calculate your surroundings, the things that you have in your room. Like maybe it can three-dimensionally scan your room and build in to the VR environment, if you have a coffee table, maybe that's a rock in VR, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be an idea.
Just some ideas. What kind of things do you think are kind of holding either AR or VR back?
Starting with maybe AR, I envision augmented reality as a world where you can look and see the Yelp ratings of a restaurant, for instance. Or maybe you look at someone on the street and then if they have public social media, that comes up. And I don't know if people think that's a creepy world or scary, but that's definitely the direction we're headed. That's kind of the first way I see AR. And the reason why I don't think we've seen that yet is because, Google Glass, I want to say, is the most advanced attempt at an augmented reality product, but kind of flopped definitely. Just because the computer's too big. I don't think the chips are small enough to make it worth it for you to actually have augmented reality glasses on. The functionality's not quite there. We're really close to the hardware being able to pull that off. Snapchat spectacles, it's rumored that they want to do more augmented reality stuff in their next version of the spectacles. Apple just put out a bunch of augmented reality features in their phone. So I think we're getting closer to that kind of The hardware's there for augmented reality, but maybe in terms of the social acceptance, it's one thing to have your phone be able to do augmented reality, but having glasses and having those have a screen where you're getting information and people can't really see when you are looking at your information or not. The whole smart contact lenses, maybe there's a social element of augmented reality that is the reason it hasn't taken off.
Interesting. I think that's a very good point that I haven't thought about, that social aspect of all of this. You were saying like the headset, Google Glass, it was awesome, but it was still bulky. You know, it was still large and had all this, you know, extra stuff on it. Like I was saying before, I think the hardware and the software are going to advance parallel. Both need to move together. Like the glasses need to become more comfortable and VR needs to be more portable. Also the displays and the optics, all the input information, all of that needs to be processed faster, clearer. The pixels that you see in the glasses, in the VR headset, like all of that needs to elevate as well, so it becomes even more believable. And it's got to be really precise. Like you were saying, the Yelp things, and I was thinking about, you know, like navigation, like Google Maps. Like me, I step out of the subway in Brooklyn and I have no idea where I am. I have no sense of north, south, east, or west. Right. Imagine you had the glasses on and you were navigating and you come out and it like has a blue line that just shows you where you need to go. Navigation, GPS is just a huge, very Definitely obvious huge. And easy to integrate kind of thing.
I mean, I remember even back in 2012, Facebook bought this company called Face.com, which was all about facial recognition technology. And, you know, I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I've heard that their technology of like suggesting who to tag a person in a picture is really good. And Apple has that too. So then I'm even wondering, beyond the Yelp thing and the tracking location, it's almost, okay, if you have public social media and Facebook can track you, am I going to like see your Instagram ticker? We're already seeing all these vloggers. Gary Vee's even doing this in his vlog, where you have like the Instagram handle of someone when you see them. So now I'm wondering, when you have the glasses on, the Snap glasses, am I going to see your Snap username, your Snap profile pop up? Or and you can just have it set on to private so people can't? I wonder how people would feel about that kind of, because I think the tech is there. If we can get glasses on with the screen, they're going to be able to tell who you are.
I would feel kind of uncomfortable if that was the case. You know, if I walk into a room of random people, but everybody's wearing these glasses and immediately they know, you know,
everything about you, pretty much.
Everything that I'm doing, my profile, you know, where I work, what I like, the pictures I take. Through the phones, that's how we're interacting already. That's just that one extra step.
Hey, that's where we're headed, it seems.
That's where we're headed, yeah. When computers were first invented, it was like punch cards and stuff like that, and then we had a keyboard. It became more interactive, and then we had display that showed pictures and all these things, and again, it became more interactive and more people were able to use it and understand the technology. I think that's what like AR and VR ultimately what they're trying to achieve: connecting the world more, connecting people more. You know, when iPhones came out, that was a huge step in connecting people, being closer with technology. This is just that next step. I've been talking about voice as being that next frontier as well. Instead of like typing and everything, a lot of things are going to be voice. So I think with voice and sight, that's going to be huge.
AR. Yeah, that's an interesting combo.
Voice and AR, yeah.
So is Amazon going to come out with glasses now too? Is that another new theory where you can talk to Alexa? And
Alexa integration.
You see any product and you can just buy it?
Alexa recommendation immediately, Prime status. Oh, funny story. I was on you know, looking at my emails the other day, and oh look, Alexa's already
goddamn, shut up, Alexa.
Already chiming in. I'm not very nice to my Alexa because I feel like 90% of the time she's useless. I kind of use her to turn my lights on and off. But I'll yell things at her. And then today I got an email from Amazon. It was like, you should give Alexa a compliment. Oh shit, like they're watching what I'm saying.
Wait, what?
they're like, you gotta be nice. Give her a compliment.
She's reported you. I was like, you cursed her out too many times. Wait, Amazon seriously sent you an email saying to compliment Alexa?
Yeah.
Oh my
God. They're
Dude,
like, you should give Alexa a compliment. Oh my God, I gotta compliment the robot that works for me.
Right? Isn't this the whole point of robots? That we could tell them to fuck off and they wouldn't hurt their feelings?
Exactly. Oh man, I thought that was funny. Okay, moving on.
I had a good question for you on VR and AR.
Yeah.
You were talking about bringing people together. So now I'm thinking and moving it to VR a little bit. There's this crazy divergence of, does VR bring people together or does it set people apart? because now if I am in VR, I'm in Seattle right now, you're in New York, we could be hanging out in the same VR room. So in some ways it brings us closer together, but in other ways are people going to be spending all their time in these virtual worlds and not living real lives? So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely and very likely a possibility. Even with phones, I mean, you see less people. You text, or with social media, I feel like a lot of times I know what everybody's doing and I don't need to hit up my homie and be like, yo, man, let's hang out. What's going on? I already see everything that you do all the time, every day. And I end up not really hitting you up.
but
Sometimes there's
maybe
nothing to talk
VR
about.
fixes that, because instead of just a text, you have a VR hangout instead, and that's more
Right.
personal. But it's
And
also
I think that
further away from a real life hangout in some ways.
Sure, definitely. And I think there's always going to be that balance, but it's up to, the users to make sure that they have that balance. And that's to each their own, like every individual is going to respond to it differently, use it differently. But I definitely think that that's a thing. A lot of people may not go out, people who don't feel comfortable going out or hang out in public. They might live in VR a lot more. And I definitely see that as a possibility. People who are more closed in and have a hard time in social situations in public with people watching them very closely. If they can be an avatar, whoever they want to be in VR, it may be a whole different situation. I mean, there's a negative and there's the positive. My family lives in China. A lot of my family lives in China. If there was a VR capability where I can be in this VR room and be closer to my grandfather and my friends there, my family there, that would be incredible. It's not easy for me to travel to China often every year, and I miss seeing them. I miss being with them. FaceTime is already a huge step in that direction where I get to see my grandfather a lot more, but imagine a situation where you can be half a world away, but be doing something, hanging out. For me, that would be incredible.
And there's that Black Mirror episode where San Junipero, I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then even
Yep.
if your grandpa couldn't walk or something, maybe in VR he can. You
Definitely.
guys could do things that you couldn't do in the real world in VR. Maybe your grandparents can't get on a plane to fly somewhere that they've always wanted to go, but you guys can go there in virtual reality together,
For
flying on a
sure.
drone.
For sure. Even like a end of life situation where someone's terminally ill and, like you said, they can't go anywhere. To make their lives more comfortable, they can be sitting on a beach or relive some old memories. That
Through
would
their
be
snap memories
that's very
that they recorded
snap
on
memories.
spectacles.
Oh my god. That's awesome, cuz there's a whole archive, and
I mean, that's why Snap's
that's
doing that. Eventually, they want you to relive all your memories through their platform. And you're never going to
that's
delete the app if
very
all your memories are on the platform.
that's so true. I love that. I think that's a great idea.
The other crazy thing I was thinking is, for a fantasy football league, for those of you guys who don't know, are in a fantasy football league, Kevin just joined, so we'll definitely keep you guys posted on how our teams are doing.
Not doing
I
well
think we
already.
both
Week 1
the
I
first-
lost.
Yeah, I lost too. What if we could all hang out in the same room and watch the games together? Because we're all spread across the country. If we could all put on our VR headsets and be in the same room watching the same
Yeah.
games together, kind of like this fantasy lounge.
That could be epic. I also remember there was like a commercial. Maybe it was just like I forget. Maybe for some sporting goods, some football commercial. But they had it was like a table, a coffee table, and a stadium like rose out of the like a miniature stadium rose out of the coffee table, and you could like watch the game as it was going. And I mean, again, I think that's a little bit more on the AR side. But imagine being able to not just watch the game on TV, but have this literal miniature field on your table that you can watch and see all the players moving around. Imagine they had a room at the stadiums sponsored by NFL, sponsored by whoever, that allowed for all this stuff. I think, the possibilities are endless. I was thinking about some other use cases. We were talking about, medicine and in the medical field. I think AR, again, finding veins. People who have to give shots or whatever, you can use AR to kind of visualize where the veins are to make a better initial puncture during surgery. In surgery, AR can help you visualize where the organs are or tell you where to make the incision, how wide. Those are all very practical and could really be useful in situations like that.
Totally. And I think Google Glass, they've pretty much given up on Google Glass entirely, except for that one kind of avenue, which is people who actually need to use it for work where it really helps.
Yeah.
It's not about
Yeah.
fashion or looking cool. It's about where it actually makes a difference. And that, could be something where it's really valuable.
For sure, for sure. And hand in hand with that, VR could then be used in training situations, where doctors can perform mock surgeries, but it's all very real. It's all very, they can practice and they can actually see what's going on instead of having to go to practice on a real situation, real body. It's like, you can do all the prep work, run the whole surgery prior to that. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of things like that. Even like training police officers or people in the army or things like that. Or really any kind of job. I mean, any kind of job where it's dangerous. You're fixing some windmill. You have to like climb to the top and I don't know. That would just...
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. And I think that's an interesting segue into, I was saying that AR and VR are on two ends of the spectrum, but what fills in the middle? Is there going to be developments of products or technology that encompasses both things, where you are using AR but also VR at the same time, or maybe it's one piece of equipment that does both in different situations?
Yeah, I think they'll be separate. Honestly, I don't even know why they get confused. I think they just sound the same, so everybody kind of assumes they're the same. But I think
they're the same thing.
There'll be two parts of the future. When you're out into the world and you're kind of living in the real world, then augmented reality will be there, and that'll be how we digitally enhance the real world. And then separately, you kind of go home and put on your VR kit, and then you're totally immersed, and it's another experience. So they're kind of each their own weird utopian, dystopian reality in their own way.
Yeah.
But then it's almost, but then a lot of the use cases kind of overlap. Maybe if you put on VR, you could re-experience someone going to a restaurant that you want to check out on Yelp and get the experience that way, versus AR where you just pull up the ratings when you walk by. They're both ways to engage with Yelp, but kind of totally different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yelp's almost like my favorite VR or AR company, augmented reality, because I just think that would be so huge. Yelp on every business when you walk by could be a game changer. I know that would be. I know I would use that every single day walking around New York City. Whenever I'm in a new neighborhood looking for a spot, just cross-referencing on Yelp. Maybe it's lame that we do that, but...
No, but I mean, what do you do? You're like, hey, where do you want to go eat? What do you want to do tonight? The first thing you look it up, best places to eat. That's just like the number one query. And that would be so easy. Oh, best restaurants near me. In that case, like, you'll just go outside and walk by whatever you walk by. Hey,
it'll start the walk again. I swear nobody does that anymore. People just used to be like, let's go walk and find a place. Now it's like, we got to Yelp it for 30 minutes first. Usually causes a massive debate and argument.
Right, and then 2 hours go by, no one, you haven't made it out the door yet.
Yeah, exactly. And now this could relaunch the just go wander and find a spot, because that's
definitely that's very interesting.
Future.
That is a good future. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and then exercising. If you're that Peloton, is that what it's called, where you can pick different routes, like a spin cycle. It's like a bike, and you get to pick different routes depending on different routes across the world. You could do like a Tour de France route or whatever it is, and it'll adjust to the incline and decline or the resistance.
Ooh, and you're in VR biking it and looking kind of?
Right. And right now it has just a screen where you can watch the path. But if it's in VR, you got the headset on, it's connected to your bike, you're just riding and you get to look around and you're in the environment. You're in France, you're in the Alps, you're in wherever, Wyoming, California, and riding down the beach. That could be awesome.
Dude, I would so much rather be looking at nature than the guy next to me at New York Sports Club when I go jogging.
100%, bro. 100%. Just like everybody else, sweaty.
Just like the sweaty, crappy gray gym in New York City. Trying to get as
your
far
workout
away from that as
will be a
possible.
million times better. Yeah, definitely. For me, I'm a big champion of AR. I think it's going to be the first to take off, and I think it's going to be the one thing between AR and VR, the one that really becomes greatly accepted by the general public and is something that becomes kind of like our iPhones integrated into our day-to-day lives. And I think it's good because it's a good first step to bridge that physical world with the digital world. Whereas VR, you're completely in it, and some people may not be into that. If people have motion sickness or whatever, it may not it may not be something that they're, I'm really comfortable in this the first few times that they use it. Whereas AR, if it's something that's non-obtrusive and like a pair of glasses or whatever, it's something that I think anybody can use. If it helps you with information or whatever, it's very easy to kind of like chew and swallow. I think Nordstrom or one of the like retailers, they have like a AR kind of, you can try on the makeup, you can try on the clothes in the dressing room. It scans your body and you just pick different outfits and it'll show you what it looks like on you.
It's pretty cool.
To enhance a consumer's shopping experience.
Oh, Amazon's getting into that too, actually. They had this thing called Echo Look, where the new Echo device is going to have a camera, and then it shows you different products that you could buy on Amazon and what you look like in them.
AR might be you go to the physical store and it helps you. VR could be a situation for online shopping where you don't have a store to go to. You don't have a thing to try out. But in VR, maybe you can. You know, maybe you can see the scale of it, a car or whatever it is, and try out a product in VR to enhance online shopping. Whereas AR can help physical shopping, physical retail. Oh, you know what? Like the biggest. How can we not talk about this? Might be a little not safe for work, but you know. So if you guys are listening to this on your big speakers at work,
explicit on iTunes. So I think we're good.
I've actually been wondering. I was
and
like,
we
man,
swear on YouTube.
Like, can I curse? Yeah, I was gonna say, like, can I swear?
We've definitely sweared on YouTube, so I think that's chill.
Okay, all right. So for everybody out there listening, we are a little bit explicit, but I think porn. You cannot discount that use case of VR and porn.
VR porn.
It's already a thing.
Didn't we have a Moonshot Monday around this? Pornhub?
I'm sure we did.
Pornhub is the first company to $1 trillion market cap out of nowhere. Major dark horse bet. Scott Galloway's mind is going to be blown when he hears this theory.
Yeah, right?
VR catapults Pornhub to the first $1 trillion market cap.
There's that stigma with porn, but you can't say it's not a huge industry. You can't say that people aren't using it and people won't stop using it. People won't stop watching. People are not, it's going to be a continuous thing. And on sites like Pornhub, the VR category, it has its own category already. And I think that's crazy. I don't really know a lot of people who have VR. I actually don't. I don't think I have any friends who have VR. But for them to even have a category for that is already, my goodness. Dude. Yeah, if you go on Pornhub and you go categories, there is a devoted section to virtual reality. It's already
a bigger threat to humanity than killer robots that we talked about last episode.
Very true.
Dude, it's going to be huge. And then you have like the whole smart devices, like basically taking Skype sex to the next level.
Well, exactly. Imagine that. Your girlfriend, you guys going to college, one's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. I think a lot of people will use that. Bro, look at this. I don't know if you're probably I'm on Pornhub right now. Literally the banner, the top thing that they have, Reality Kings, hashtag Ted Cruz did nothing wrong. Watch, the stepmom threesome Senator Ted Cruz was excited enough to like.
No way. Dude,
that's
Can we
so
talk
funny.
about that for a second though? Ted Cruz?
Yeah, man.
Like what?
Like,
dude?
how did that happen?
Regardless of
someone fucked
where
up.
you sit on the political spectrum, learn how to use Twitter, bro.
Yeah. How did you mess that up? How did you accidentally do that? I could not believe that when I heard it.
I saw the funniest meme. You know the meme with the guy who's looking back that's just so overhyped? There's one where it's like, that's Ted Cruz, and they put the face of his wife next to the chick that he's looking away from, and the chick of who was in the porno that he liked, and I was dying, dude. The only acceptable version of that meme I've come across.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh my god. Dude, it's so... What happened? Did his finger slip? Did he... was he... I don't know, man. How did that happen?
And dude, the other hilarious part is Twitter's been so desperate for engagement that they're showing things in the news feed. Kevin liked this tweet, and that shows up in my news feed, even though you didn't retweet it, but it's basically ends up being a retweet because Twitter's so desperate to fill your feed with content because no one's tweeting, I guess. And so Ted Cruz it probably popped up in so many people's feeds that was Ted
Yeah,
Cruz
Ted
liked
Cruz
this
liked-
tweet. And you were just scrolling like, what the
Crazy. Ted, I'm sorry, man.
We're so sorry, Ted.
What happened? Learn to use your phone. Learn to use Twitter. I don't know, man. Open another
Who's
account.
watching
then do
porn
that
on
shit.
Twitter anyway? I feel like that's a recipe for disaster.
Oh my god. He's just like, in a meeting, just like, I gotta step out for a sec. And just like on Twitter.
Dude, I just did an episode on Twitter. I should have included that. A new growth category. Apparently they're getting into porn content. I had no idea. This is the best news I've heard about Twitter in years. This is their only chance at a turnaround. Honestly, I knew Jack Dorsey was a genius. I knew he'd figure it out.
Next Moonshot Monday, Pornhub Twitter,
Pornhub Twitter. Dude, I think we might need to do this. Ted Cruz just opened the doors.
Hey, maybe we gotta thank Ted for this.
We gotta thank Ted.
Oh, we were talking about that, Match.com, Tinder, virtual reality dating, VR dating. Maybe you match on Tinder and then you both step into a VR environment for your first date. You kind of meet, see if you're feeling it, if it's cool, then you guys go on a real date.
Wow, the VR first date.
Match has been doing really good on the announcement of Tinder Gold. Definitely makes sense in my mind for them to kind of utilize VR technology once it becomes more viable. Actually, a friend of ours had made this video with Facebook where they had these two strangers meet in a VR environment for the first time. They kind of did a little date there.
Really?
And then at the end, they were like, would you want to go on a real date with this person? And both of them said yes. So I think, that's it's also like a safety thing. It's a safe place. Nobody can hurt you in VR. Whereas on a first, in a real life date, if it's just some person you met online, you don't know who they are. You don't know actually what they look like. You don't know, it's all kind of sketchy, can be very sketchy, and then you get there and it's like, this isn't the person, or like it becomes a kind of an awkward situation. Where in VR you can disconnect whenever you want. If it's really not going well, or if it's something that is making you uncomfortable, you can just hit end and that's it. You're done. You're out of there. They don't know where you live. They don't actually know who you are. They've never met you. From even a safety standpoint, I think that might appeal to a lot of people.
And Facebook recently launched something called Facebook Spaces, or maybe it's in beta, I don't even know if it's out, but it's sort of these spaces or VR environments where people can hang out on Facebook. And I think Tinder's already partnered with Facebook or your Facebook profile, and so that'd be an interesting thing of they kind of integrate even deeper with Facebook where you meet in a Facebook space. You can choose from one of 10 mainstream spaces of watch sports,
definitely
do this,
definitely,
I don't know,
definitely.
Explore this, explore that jungle, or whatever. And then,
I mean, that's probably going to be their move if they
move.
Are
but then
it's
I almost think
VR,
Facebook,
they're going to partner with Facebook.
Almost Facebook could make a move into dating somehow. I don't know.
I'm sure they have so much data on all these millions and millions of people. Definitely an easy move.
And how many times, if you're on Facebook, I guarantee one of the profiles you're checking the most is the person you want to go on a date with. So it's not that hard for Facebook to figure that out and
for sure,
and kind of be a matchmaker. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that oversteps their boundary as just the utility kind of all-encompassing platform, but it seems such a no-brainer, and they could be like, well, you guys don't really know each other, but you always both look at each other's profile and clearly, bam, set up that match.
Man, that's pretty interesting. I don't know anything. I don't really know anything about this, and I this is kind of just hearsay, but some friends talking about it. But Instagram's new algorithm doesn't show you the pictures and videos that people post in chronological order.
Right? It's pissing me off.
They're totally semi-chronological, right? It's semi-chronological based on the last 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever it is. But certain profiles will jump to the front, right? And then if you look at stories, who are the first few people that are on your stories?
All my best friends.
And then when you look, who has viewed your story, right? And the names are listed. Are those names being listed? If any of the Hyperchange listeners out there, you guys know more, you guys know for a fact, please let us know. I'm very interested in this. How do they list the names? Is it in order based on, who viewed it first? Or based on this, like, thing that I heard, it's based on like who interacts with your profile more. So those who view your stories more often or every time that you post something first, those profiles jump to the front. So you see those names first, or like you see your homies, the people you interact with more often with, you see those people's stories first. The icons come up in that order. So I don't know that as a fact. That's just speculation, but kind of going along with what you're saying, I'm sure they have the data somewhere. How many times you checked so and so's profile, or how many times they checked your profile. That's definitely data they have. So if they want to use it, I'm sure that's very usable.
I mean, they're one move away. I don't know. It's a good idea. I feel like there's some reason where they don't want to mess up their core business and get too much into relationships, and that's why. But I feel like they're definitely scheming on it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure they're scheming on it. Or they get into dating and they offer new features on Facebook that help you, once a date doesn't go well or once a relationship ends. They have the getting out of relationship function. I don't know, like automatic blocking, or they don't see these
Deletes all the
pictures.
pics you guys have.
Or yeah, like it automatically archives and deletes the pictures of both, of the couple, and they're no longer on your profile. It automatically does that when you change your relationship status.
All right, I feel like we should wrap it up and pose some questions to the viewers. The Sippin and Schemin. Yo, I feel like we've gotten some good comments on the first couple Sippin and Schemin, so keep those going.
Yeah, definitely. This week Gali's in Seattle. I'm still in New York. I know some of you guys want us to film this.
That's right.
Don't worry, we're definitely on that, and we're posting
on that.
some videos when we're back together again. Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comments what you think the future of VR and AR is. Let us know what you guys think about the new iPhone 10 with its face recognition features and AR features. And let us know if anybody is using VR a lot and has Oculus or whatever. Let us know what you think of it. How is it working? How does it function? Do you feel comfortable using it? How often do you use it? We'd love to know.
Do you use it for porn? Be as open as you want.
do you use it for porn? We really want to know. Yeah. Yeah. What else? You got anything, G-Russ?
I think those are all good questions. I want to know, maybe my question is, what do you guys think, how soon is VR going to hit? When do the glasses come out that let you check Yelp ratings? Question number 1. Question number 2, when does 10% of US households have a VR system? Because I think those are kind of, let's take some
good
guesses
metrics
here. I'll answer. I think Apple and Snap are going to be the first 2 companies to come out with glasses that are a big hit. Spectacles 2.0. Apple will come out with some sort of glasses product that will be sort of their next iteration after the iPhone, and maybe eventually displace the iPhone. And those, maybe 2019, 2020 timeframe before they really come out and they're mainstream, maybe even later. So I'm not even thinking that soon. Yeah, and that's for Yelp. For VR at 10% of households, I feel like not even for 10 years, because I just think we're really far away.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kevin, you want to answer those real quick? Or do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that timeline. Yesterday at the Apple event, they right off the bat was like, yeah, we've been working with Snapchat to develop some of these AR features. So, they already said it, and I think
it's already
Snapchat's made that move. It's already happening. So I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them comes out with something, or maybe even in partnership. They both integrate. Apple has glasses that integrate Snapchat into them, or something like that. I think that's definitely a possibility. And VR, I don't know, man. On one hand, I think it is far away. On the other hand, think about how many people own PS4s. And a PS4 operates as, all you need is the Oculus headset, right? And then your PlayStation becomes a VR machine. I don't know what it's called. But I know a lot of people that have PlayStation, PS4s. I have
True.
one. A lot of my homies have them, and I think that there's just that that equipment add-on, and I've even thought about it. I've even thought about getting it. So, 10 years, maybe a little less, before it to be very comfortable and usable. I think there's still a long way to go. The field of portability and kind of design of the hardware, there's a lot of challenges to overcome still. So I think that is a few years away still, for sure.
I mean, that wraps it up. You got any final words?
Nah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Follow
Definitely
us
subscribe.
on Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud. We're really looking forward to our next episode. This is Sippin Schemin. I'm your host, Kevin.
I'm your host, Gali. See you guys next time.
And, see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.